Hello, Catherine here from the beaches of Oahu, Hawaii. I love being somewhere I'm not normally at, like this wonderful beach, because it gives me a chance to open up my mind and perspective to new things, as does reading. And there's this incredible book you have to read, which I've just finished and restarted because it was so good. I got to the end and went, oh my god, I have to read this again. This is Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. You might recognize the name Napoleon Hill from his book Think and Grow Rich. It was published in 1938 and has basically been mentioned by every quote-unquote successful person as being a very formative book in helping them reach success. Sharon Lecter is an amazing woman who a few years ago created the book, kind of brought it into the 21st century for modern women and put a feminine spin on the book so that women could relate more to it, which is absolutely amazing. So where did this book come from? So after Napoleon Hill was finished writing Think and Grow Rich in 1938, he wrote this other book, Outwitting the Devil, and it was so controversial, both in title and in content, that his wife begged him not to publish it. So he didn't. And he passed away, she passed away. Then their nephew didn't want to publish it, and then he passed away. And that is why it took us until 2011 to actually publish this book, and it is amazing. So Think and Grow Rich, the first book, was about success principles. The 17 things that if you follow these principles, you'll be successful in life. And we have seen modern contemporary writers like Jack Canfield, Andrew Carnegie, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Stephen Covey. We've seen incarnations of these principles throughout. What is amazing about this book is that it really deals with the mindset. So there are these habits, if you do them, you'll be successful, but there's like, why when people know them, do they not do them? And that's what this book really fills the gap on. So the reason why it's called Outwitting the Devil is because Napoleon was broke, being chased by the mafia, was really depressed. It was the onset of the Great Depression. He was not in a good place. And he one night went out for a long walk and basically just went, I'm going to figure this out tonight. And like, I am not coming home until I figure out what the heck is going on with me. So he had this experience, epiphany, some kind of powerful thing happened to him where he came back and penned this book. So it could be, this book is structured in such a way that it's an interview with the quote-unquote devil. So it's structured in such a way that you're reading it like Napoleon Hill is interviewing the devil. Whatever your beliefs in the afterlife are, whether you think there is a real devil or whether it's our minds that we create, the devil is within us, like regardless of beliefs, you can read this and get a lot out of it. So whether you believe he actually had an encounter with the real devil or whether it was just all kind of made up inside him, regardless, it is amazing. So here's a few of the key points that were really powerful for me. So early on in the book, Napoleon Hill talks about this concept of drifting. He's interviewing the devil, and the devil is, gleefully regaling him his tactics on bringing people over to the dark side. And one of these tactics is drifting. He encourages people to drift. And what he explains that is basically drifting, coasting into these practices, these not nice ways of being that lead us down a dark path. Drinking, smoking, even before it was a thing that smoking was bad, using sex in a negative way for power or for some ulterior motive. These types of practices are, through doing these practices, people drift. And the more and more they drift, the closer they get to the devil, till there's kind of a point of no return where the devil is theirs. And the devil claims that he controls 98% of people, that 2 out of 100 are on his opponent's side, whether you believe that's God or a higher power. But basically the devil's got 98% of us, according to this devil. And I really, just concept of drifting really relates, like I can really see this both in my own life and what I observe in others. I lost a job recently, and the first place I went to was a very dark place of just despair and complete lack of hope, and just like, this is the worst thing. And it was so easy. My mind went there so quickly to think that this was the end of the world and my life was over. And actually, I realized that had I not been let go, I was very much in the danger of continuing to drift through a safe, unfulfilled existence that was comfortable. And I'm so grateful now for being let go, because that gives me the opportunity to pursue other things that are much more interesting to me. And so I was able to go from a place of complete and total despair to a place of, this is amazing, I am so lucky that this happened to me, in the space of 24 hours. And I could really see how I was just going to keep drifting. I see it in other people. For those of you who are in the network marketing business, you probably see this a lot. You have something wonderful to offer them. You want to get through to them, to your prospects. You see them doing these things that you're like, why are you doing that? You can have more time, you can have more money, you can have more happiness, you can have all those things. Why will you not listen to me? What are you doing? And you see them, and you want to save them, and you're like, don't do this, don't, stop drifting, just come over here. And so I really think in network marketing, we're part of the 2%. I really feel like we've found this other way. We've found this really great thing, and it's our obligation, it's our responsibility to pass it on to others so they don't drift through life. So whether you're in network marketing or not, I'm sure you can relate to this. For me, on these 2 different levels, both personally and professionally, I just thought this was amazing. Another concept that Napoleon interviews the devil about is definitiveness of purpose. Like, just really being, it's very recent we've heard purpose, find your purpose. It's all about purpose. Like, this is I've only heard this in the last couple of years. It seems to be a new thing. But being connected to your higher power and knowing that you're here for a purpose that is much higher than our everyday, mundane, normal lives existence. Writing about this in 1938 is just absolutely incredible. And there's this one quote that when I read it, it just kind of smacked me in the face, but it's at the end of chapter 5. Napoleon writes, "Be definite in everything you do and never leave unfinished thoughts in the mind. Form the habit of reaching definite decisions on all subjects." This is so important, because how often do we spend being all cray-cray in our heads? So take a decision on everything you do. So, like, if I'm annoyed that the helicopter's going above me, and I could make up a story that this helicopter is ruining my video and be really annoyed about it. Or I can choose, you know what? I choose not to be bothered by this helicopter. I choose it. I've made my decision. I'm happy with my decision. Move on. If we took that approach to every single thing in our lives, we would be whole and complete 100% of the time. And how amazing is that life? I love it. And then the final thought that I wanted to share with you, well, there's 2, hypnotic rhythm and seeds of fear. My God, I could make this a much longer video than it already is. So hypnotic rhythm, I would call this, the best way of summarizing this is really like where habits are so strong, you don't even recognize their habits. Like, this is just kind of being on autopilot, to the point where you don't even know it's a habit, so you can't even break it. And seeds of fear. Fear is absolutely the strongest emotion we have as human beings. It can just absolutely cripple us, or we can choose to go, you know what, I don't know what's gonna happen here, I'm really freaking scared, but like, I'm just gonna go for it. Watch out. Fear, I think, is the absolute number one thing that holds people back. And I just want to read one more quote. This is also about definitive or purpose, which is, the person who moves with definitiveness recognizes the difference between temporary defeat and failure. When plans fail, he substitutes others, but he does not change his purpose. He perseveres. So I will end it there with that quote. I could go on for days about this book. Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. Check it out now.